Okay, David here again. Now I'm going to show a little tutorial on how to use Google Drive, also known as Google Docs in another life. Um, this is one of the most utilized pieces of technology that our class uses for collaborative work. It's probably the most useful next to Dropbox and using just our Facebook page and to some extent Tracks. So what is the main benefit of using Google Drive? It's mainly used if you're working on a document or a spreadsheet or even a PowerPoint presentation by which you've split up the work and each person is doing a little section of the project, and you want to not have to just email like all these copies back and forth, because that can get very annoying, right? Because at the end of the day, what has to happen is one person is going to have to collaborate and organize and put everything together. And Google Drive beautifully eliminates that entire problem because you can work on things in real time. So, just like anything in Google, in order to have this this availability, you're going to have to create a Google account. Okay, so here's my account here. Once you create your account in any Google account, so if you have a YouTube account, a Gmail account, or anything like that, you'll have access to Google Drive. So if you have Gmail, you can just go up to the tab and you can hit Drive. Okay? So if you don't have an account, just go into Google, just type the word in Drive. It'll pop up first thing, create an account, and you'll have something like this, but it will be empty, of course. Alright, so let me show you guys exactly what I mean for those that aren't familiar with using this sort of cloud-based, web-based word processing, PowerPoint, collaborative sort of deal. Okay? So, here's how it works. Here is something that we really utilized it for, which was big, was for our osteology, studying for our osteology exams in anatomy. And how that worked was we had a set of landmarks, and each landmark could have like multiple questions as to what things attached there, run through it or something like that, right? So to study, it's good to list all the possible types of things that could potentially be on there. Well, this is an extremely long list, all right? So I've already opened this in another tab right here. So you can see here, this is a really long list of landmarks, okay? And this is all filled out, all right? So for one person to do all that would be a lot of work. However, so we can break it up, right? Someone can volunteer to take C1. Another person can volunteer to take C2, or the body of C2. Someone else to the dens of C2. And why this is useful is I can say, so we split this up, right? So 40 people have a little section. Well, each person can work on this section in real time, and it will show up on someone else's computer. So what exactly does that mean? Well, I've opened two tabs here. So this little green thing right here, you'll see it says Anonymous Crow. That's just Google's way of being fun. It puts a different animal to whoever's online at the time. But this means that someone else is viewing this document in a distant land at a distant computer in addition to me. Okay? And you will see, if we're going to go to the Crows tab over here, it can show that someone else is also viewing this document, which is the hyena, right? So this is the hyena tab, this is the crow tab, okay? So you see this little green tab right here. This tab is what I'm actually typing. This is what I'm working on. So let me give you an example here. Say this is what I'm working on, right? Now, my buddy who is at home also working on this will pop up on his document. See how now it's over here on this one, and it has this little green cursor. It says, oh, who wrote that? Anonymous Crow, because they're actually online. But see, it populates in real time. So whoever's working on the C1 Atlas, so let's make this easy here. Say there was nothing here, so there's nothing here, okay? And my part's on the Atlas, so I work on here, right? And I type, longus coli, okay? then that will pop up on the other person. And so it's very useful because everyone can do their part, and then boom, it's populated, and no one had to organize all of it, and it's accessible to everybody. Okay? So that's the general idea, is that everyone can work together to do that. All right? So let me show you a few more things. One is this is a message button, which means if this person was online and I actually wanted to talk to this person, I could do that. Okay, I could say, hey, what are you doing? You know, well, why did you type that? You know, don't type that or whatever. And so it'll pop up, and then if I go over here, it should pop up here. It's taking a little long for me. So there you go. So I could talk and chat in real time if I had a question about what someone was doing. All right? Now, a Google Doc is just like, you see it looks kind of just like Word, right? I mean, I can bold, italicize, I can double space, I can put bullet points, I can put tables in, I can do whatever I might want to do on a Word, I can do in a Google Doc, as long as it's straightforward. Okay, if you want to insert a lot of like images and stuff like that, then Word is still king. But for basic word processing, Google Doc is the same thing. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. All right. So let's go back and show how to actually create a Google Doc. So you're going to go to your Drive main menu, and you're going to go, believe it or not, to this gigantic button that says Create. So I'm going to hit Create. And I can create a few things: folder, document, presentation, drawing. This, don't worry about this. That's not going to show up on yours. But these are the main forms I can create. So presentation is basically a PowerPoint presentation. This is like an Excel sheet. You probably won't use these. Okay, this is more for other uses. So say I want to create a document. I create the document. If I want to name it, I just come up here and I can name it whatever I want. So I'll name this test. Alright, so again, I can just start typing however I might want to on here, right? And I could title it, I could insert a table, whatever I want to do. So let's say I have my Google Doc and I've created it. So now I need other people to access it, right? Because we can't collaborate if not everyone has access to it. This is the tricky part, so pay attention to this part. If you don't pay attention, you're going to get frustrated. Most people in my class don't know how to do this. That's why I'm making this, because it's very useful, okay? I didn't mean to offend anyone in my class. So you hit the share button. Now you'll see, even as I mouse over this, right now this is private to me. Only I can access it. That's it. Well, I don't want that. I want everyone to work together. So I hit share. Now, there are basically two options you have here. The first option is to make it, well, let me admit it. The first option is I can share it, I can make it public, which you won't do. I can make it with the link, okay? So you'll see here, anyone, if I click this anyone with the link, anyone who has that link, they can click it and go right to the doc, okay? And this is almost always what you're going to do for the purposes of PT School, for broad access, because you don't care that everyone can see this, okay? So then you want to make sure, this says can view, you want to switch this to can edit. That way people can actually type into it, otherwise they're just going to be able to view it, okay? And anyone, no sign-in required, okay? So if I hit this and save, now anyone can take this link right here, and if they go to it, I'll show you. I'll copy and paste this. Okay, we'll put that in right here. And that's going to go right to the doc that I made. Okay? So, and now of course the easy way to do this, if you actually have a Facebook page, you can just hit this little Facebook button. And it will pop up your Facebook. I can go here. I can go on in a group. We have a group, Texas State DPT. I can say, hey, check out my Google Doc. And boom, now everyone in my class sees it. Okay? Alright. Now, here's the other component. If you didn't make this doc and someone shared the link to you, you want to be able to access that later, right? And so what you're going to do is there will be a button up here. I can't show this to you, but there'll be a button up here, and it'll just say Save to my Google Doc. Save so that when you go to your home page, it pops up right here. Otherwise, you'll have to always put that link in, right? So you could bookmark it if you wanted to, but the easiest way is just to save it to your drive so that now it's going to be in your little folder, okay? That might take a little messing around with if you have problems with it. Just ask someone, you guys can figure it out, okay? All right, great. What's the other way I can share it? The other way is I can click share here, and I don't want anyone who has the link, okay? So I want it to be private. And how this works is I can invite certain people, right? So I'll put my classmates. So if I wanted to invite Carrie, only I want Carrie to see it. That's it, just me and her. And I give her access from her email. I email invite her, and I want her to edit, right? Or I could just have view, okay? And if I save and share that, I can also add a message and say, hey, this is my doc. Now only she can access it, and nobody else, because I don't want the link. You probably will only utilize that if you're working in like a small group and you're not working with the entire class. Okay? So those are the two main ways that you can share. Alright. So that's the doc part of it. Hope all that makes sense. Again, you can mess around with all this stuff. It's just like anything else, okay? I can insert a table. I can insert image. I can come over here and I can do double space, line spacing here. So anything else, anything you'd want to do, you can usually do. All right? And if I want to go back to my main page, see this little arrow pops up? Boom, I'm right there. Okay? All right. Now, you can also upload to this. This is basically an online flash drive, but you'll probably utilize Google or Dropbox more for that. Even though Google Drive is the same thing as Dropbox, you'll probably use Dropbox instead, just because I told you about it first. All right, great. So, what are some other things? You can star things and favorite them. You can organize it, right? So I have some folders here. I have a lot of folders actually. All right, so now I can put anything that I might want in this folder for this class. I can put it in here so I can organize them. If I want to upload, I hit this little upload button. I could go to File, and I could upload any file. I could upload this folder. I could upload a bunch of these if I wanted to. Okay, and boom, I can upload them, and then once they're uploaded, now I can access them anywhere I go. All right, but that's basically obsolete now with the use of Dropbox, unless you don't want things on your computer. But don't worry about that for right now. Okay. All right. Now, this might happen. The last thing I'll tell you, this might happen where if you have a bunch of folders, everything shows up like the folders. Sometimes you'd rather just see the most recent things you worked on. So click this Recent tab, and then the most things you're probably looking on here for are going to pop up. All right. You can search for whatever you might want, okay? And that's just like anything else. I'll show you one more other thing. You can also do a PowerPoint not PowerPoint, but a presentation, and this is also useful. I didn't change that, so that's embarrassing, but I can have this set up here, and it's the same thing. I can have a bunch of people, we're all working on different slides, but we're doing it collaboratively. And then once it's all set up, I can actually export it, so I can go download as. I can download it as a PowerPoint file, and then I can do some tweaks here and there, but I already have everyone's information. Because as you'll probably find out, if you're 3 or 4 people, or even 2 people working on a PowerPoint presentation, it can get tricky, especially if you're using something like Dropbox, because you have to make sure that you don't have it open at the same time, because you don't want to overwrite the other person's problem and all that sort of stuff. Plus, you're going to end up emailing things if you don't use, so it can be a big mess. And this somehow eliminates that, but there are some downsides to it. Okay, last thing now, I think I've already said that, but let me show you, once you have something open, say you want to print it. Okay, so it's just like anything else. I can just click print. It's going to open it as a PDF file, and I can just print it, boom, right there, or I can open the PDF if I'd like. Okay, let's cancel this. Let's say I want to actually save this physically to my computer. I can download it. Usually, you're going to want to do it as a PDF because it won't mess with the formatting. You can download it to Microsoft Word. It's usually pretty good. Sometimes things here and there will get tripped up, but if you're not planning on making any other edits to it, you should just do it as a PDF because you know that it will work and work perfectly. Okay? And you could also email it as an attachment if you wanted to. Alright, so that is the main tutorial for Google Drive. Again, I knew I threw a lot at you there. The main thing is the collaborative nature of it and the ability to share it. The other stuff you may or may not use depending on how much you utilize technology as a person. But for the uses of utilizing this for school, that's what our class found most effective, was doing things like that osteology prep, or what I would do oftentimes is I was a big chart person, and so I would make these charts, okay, that would help me study. So here's a chart of all the red flags for cervicothoracic disorders. But then I'd want my other classmates to have access to it if they thought it might be useful, so I would just post it to my Facebook page and say, hey, if you guys think this is useful, here it is. So it's easy to share instead of having to upload a file or something like that. But again, its main utility is for the collaborative portion of it. So that is Google Drive. I hope it was helpful, and good luck using it.